Let there be light, and there was light. So, this is our opening affirmation. And of course, if I do remember to use it at the end as well, as sealing this presentation, because we always call on to transparency. We say always, we don't do this consciously all the time, but it is with that intention the presentations are being presented in transparency, and of course revelation waters. That's why we call on to waters, for the transparent attributes of that wonderful element, that which we are. By the way, just to remind people that you may not have heard this anywhere else, because I haven't heard it anywhere else, but the divine feminine has told me, that is the said God, Mother Eve, the serpent, Saturn, the Kundalini, all those names or energy she goes by. But she has told us that the female is 100% water and the male is 90% water. I do trust what I am getting from Mother Eve, and so I am now uttering that information. We understand through our lifetime that scientists continually becoming, we should say, or perfecting their search, in the sense of having the measurement instruments that can fine-tune their findings. And if there is not one that has been devised to show the accuracy of 100% water in female, or understanding whatever else that they think is not water or matter, whatever they see it as, even if it were matter, the word water in itself tells us that if the M, oh sorry, the W, so water, which I hope you can see. Okay, so water, okay, this is better, is really matter, because the W can be turned either way. And we know, of course, it's two T's in matter, but Eve has given us the spirit of sound mind, and this is the W, that is the 3, that is the M, that is E, and that is and so on, and 3. So that is what forms the 8-petal flower of life that we are. So we are whole in the sense of masculine and feminine, masculine, feminine, and the opposites. And it actually equals, the word perfect actually equals 10. Now, what I really want to say here, I want to do on this, is to show you the second part to the number 1. I have just been going over numbers. The numbers have so many, they are still the same numerical value, but because in the English language we have so many words, we get lost in thinking that all these words mean different things, and actually they don't. They are really in essence numerical values. So I did this for the word 1. Of course, I looked at 1. Let's look at 1, okay, in its implicit form, like it were 10. So we begin with 10, but in numerology, of course, because the naught is nothing that we work with, so we have 1. This is where we begin with 1. Room 101, as though it were in the Matrix. Okay, so 1, we're looking at 1. But of course, we not only have 1 as the symbol for 1, we have 1 as the word for 1. Okay, now before I go on, let's see what we can get the tens from. We have 10, of course. We have 28. We have 55. We can have 55. We can have 64 and 46 as well for 10. We have I was gonna say 8, of course, 82, and so on. Okay, so just to give you a flavor of the numbers that really form 10. Okay. There may be more, but that's what I am thinking of right now. And 10, of course, is 1. So there we are, 655. When we add this together, that gives us 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. We have seen that is 7. Now, of course, this is really telling us 1 is 7. 1 is 7. Now, what I really want to point out here is like the beauty, and this is something we can use in our affirmation as well. So I am one who is, I'm just saying, one who is. We see this is a statement. When we say I am one, you are 7. Now, of course, if we do the numerical value for 7, we have in the middle Eve, Mother Eve, which is 5, and Mother Eve has always asked us to look at the two ends, which is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11, of course. Now, we see 11 like this. If we added all the numerical values of these letters, we would get 20. But it's the same thing. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, this is 2 right here. So, let's do 2 or TWO. This would be 2, 5, 6. And if we add this together, that would be 7 plus 6 would be 14. Of course, don't we have two sevens in 2 sevens of 14? 2 sevens of 14. So this is what we are talking about. So we could see how in 1 is also 2. Because if you were to divide, like we had the 2 1s, you were to divide the 1 or break it, you'd still have 2. Okay. Now, let's just look at 1. Let's dwell on 1. We are just looking at 1. Now, the word 1, and with the spirit of sound mind, gets me thinking about the word 1. And it gets me thinking about now. And it also gets me thinking about own, O-W-N. You could hear like own and one, the same kind of vibration is still in there in the sound. So when we do the same numbers or the same letters, of course we can see that the W, as I say, we can do different things with the W, which would mean like a 3 or an E or M, like mon or whatever. But let's look at this here. As we are saying one, you won, and there's 1. So this is 6, 6, 5, 5. Again, we have this here. 10 plus 6 is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 takes us back to 1. We see that we have 1. We are 1. We have 1. So basically, when we can think of the numbers in this sense, the magic of 1 in this sense, when we see and understand that we are 1, you see 7, you see you have 1, you are 1. However, it's just to remind ourselves that the magnificent elements of the numbers are there for us to enjoy and make use of and understand, because when we understand that, we understand ourselves. We are the 6 days of creation, the 7th day of rest. We are the 7 visible planets. We are the 7 oceans. We are the 7 days of the week. We are the 7 cycles, of course. And because of that, which we are those 7, this is what Mother Eve, going back to Mother Eve, it's like Mother Eve has just reminded me, going back to say we are on the 7th. Now she's reminding us we are ending this 7 And the main purpose of learning all of these beautiful teachings now is that we are getting into the 8th cycle, which is the earth cycle. And that is what we learn, what we know is that which we are going to take with us and to say, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Thank you. Namaste. And let there be light, and there was light. Yes.